Hey, welcome animals. Of course, everyone here is here for Harriet, so that's a reversal or modification of an asterisk in Harriet's book, The Platypus and the Mermaid, where she differentiates between people and animals grammatically in a sentence and then writes at the bottom of the page, I assume that people are animals too, but I'll nevertheless use the conventional human and animal formulation because it reflects the views of my subjects. So that's 1997. It was about a century period, a century and more earlier, and things haven't changed that much. So good morning, everyone. I'm Anya Zilberstein, Harriet Ritvo's forever student, and I'm really delighted that we finally gathered here today in the Sandberg Center and on Zoom to celebrate her. So first, I want to begin by drawing attention to our presence in this place at the Sandberg Center by noting that MIT is beginning to develop a land acknowledgement or a statement of relationship with Indigenous communities. Last week, MIT's president, Raphael Reif, called for an ad hoc group to collaborate with local tribal leaders to begin the formal process of doing that. And in anticipation of that, we note it's vital to recognize and learn from Indigenous communities who've shaped and continue to contribute to MIT and to what settlers have called Cambridge, the Commonwealth of Massachusetts, and the United States, and we might say North America too. So Harriet's been at MIT for over 4 decades. And although there are many of us here today and on Zoom, we're just a fraction of the people within and without MIT who've been improved by her intellectual insights, her shrewd counsel, and her wonderful company. I've been involved in this for so long, I now feel like very emotional and sentimental about some of the things I'm saying. So it was no surprise that back in 2018, when MIT started reaching out to alumni and other former students and people connected to Harriet about whether or not they'd be available and interested in participating in an event like this, the overwhelming response was yes. So again, welcome everyone to this much anticipated, many times delayed event for reasons we're all familiar with. I've had the great pleasure to participate in organizing this with the help of many, many people. So I want to begin by thanking and just expressing gratitude to Jeff Ravel and Deborah Fitzgerald of History and of STS for initially asking me to be involved in helping to organize this event. To the MIT History Office for doing all the nitty-gritty work of making this event come together, and to Mark Mendez and Jesse, whose last name I don't know, but of MIT AV for the technical support that allows this to be a hybrid conference. Thank you to Rebecca Woods, to Etienne Benson, and to Bill Turkel for being on the program committee with me. And to really every single person on the program, both presenters and chairs, for being part of this enterprise with great enthusiasm and sustaining it and bearing with my many, many, many email blasts over the past 4 years. We're all eager, mostly to hear your papers, but especially because we're attempting to listen to and discuss them in this hybrid format, which is new to some of us in terms of running a hybrid conference. I just want to give a quick overview about how we'll proceed. And probably other questions will come up, but this is the kind of basic guidelines. So first, just a note on the program. For those of you who haven't noticed, all the session titles are plagiarized directly from some of Harriet's own wittily titled publications, but the content within them is really a reflection of her wide reach and influence. They're really interdisciplinary, and students who are coming from many different disciplines at this point and perspectives. We'll have a sizable virtual audience now. I think we have over 35 people or so, as well as 5 virtual presenters zooming in, including our very first speaker. So people are zooming in to speak from Beirut, Berlin, Toronto, Vancouver, and Tel Aviv over the next 2 days. After the presentations, in each session after the presentations, we're hoping for a stimulating discussion. And that's gonna happen both in terms of the people in Sandburg and Zoom. So in both cases, people can raise their hands, whether virtually or here. And the session chair will call on you if you're in Sandburg. If you're on Zoom, then you can raise your hand or you can put your question into the chat. I'll just note it is a closed chat, so there won't be a kind of a running commentary happening because most people in Sandburg are not on their devices, although you're welcome to be if you want. And just please bear with us a bit as we toggle back and forth between the Zoom chat and the discussion that's happening in the room. There's hot drinks and water available at any time outside here, so help yourself to those. We're going to have a 5 to 10 minute break for stretch coffee around noon, and that lunch is at 1:15. It's a catered lunch right here in Sandburg, and then we'll reconvene at 2:30 for there'll be 2 afternoon panels. So as a testament to Harriet's multifarious relationships, we have a Cats versus Students timeline theme poster that you may have noticed with contributions from Rebecca Wood's beautiful illustrations, and also Harriet, unbeknownst to her, historical photographs of cats living and not living. So we have Sharpies, and I welcome everyone who's in Sandburg to sign the poster, if you will, because it'll be framed and then given to Harriet for posterity. And if you're in the Zoom audience, you could put in the chat something you'd like us to put on the poster, and we'll try to find room for that. There's also t-shirts, similar variation on a similar theme that everyone is welcome to, so be sure to pick those up. Please tweet or whatever about the event to make Harriet Fest a trending hashtag. At the end of the day, everyone who's here is welcome to join us for a reception at the Harvard Natural History Museum at 26 Oxford Street, and probably many people will take the T and walk together. You can find directions on the museum website. And we'll reconvene tomorrow for a half day with breakfast, again, starting at 8:30, and Jeff Ravel welcoming us tomorrow at 9, but we'll be on the 7th floor upstairs, not here. And I'll finally note that in both venues, as everyone has already noticed, masks are optional, and feel free to do whatever you feel most comfortable with. So with that, I just want to say my last thank you for now. And that's for Chris Capizzola, Professor Christopher Capizzola, McVicker Faculty Fellow, and the head of history at MIT, is a leading political, social, and legal historian of global war in the 20th century United States, including his most recent book, which is about, broadly speaking, US imperialism in the Philippines during World War II. I have a long history of debts to Chris Capizzola, who is a very first-rate person in my experience. He took me on as a research assistant when early years of you being at MIT, and then he somehow allowed himself to be dragged onto my dissertation defense committee at the last minute, generously giving really crucial advice that I tried to follow in writing my book. He's been really tirelessly working on Harriet Fest with an abundance of capability and cheer, which was just the reassurance that we needed, especially in the last few weeks as the date grew closer. So thanks, Chris.
All right. Thank you, Anya. I didn't expect any such words, because we're actually here for Harriet. Harriet, if you read my sort of bio in the program, Harriet called me in January 2002 to offer me a job. And at the very end of it, she said, "So, are you going to take it?" And I did, on the phone, which, PS, if any of you are ever offered an academic job, don't accept it on the phone as soon as you get it. But in any case, it was not an error on my part. So thank you, Harriet, for the offer and for the pressure to join here at MIT. I'm Chris Capizzola. On behalf of MIT History, I'm going to thank you for joining us today and tomorrow, both virtually and in person. And I'm just here to very quickly make some additional thanks to people who made this event possible with contributions of time, money, in-kind, creativity, love, and what we value most, patience. So first to MIT Anthropology and the MIT Program in Science, Technology, and Society, to the Shas Dean's Office, to here today, the staff of the Sandberg Center who are providing food, drink, and AV, and are working together with us with representation from Unite Here Local 26, and to Janet Brown, Jane Pickering, and the staff of the Harvard Museum of Natural History. Among others who provided sort of support over the time include our graphic designer, Michael Rossi, another HAST graduate who is not a full-time graphic designer, but plays one on the side. And then finally, or not finally, and especially to our lead conference organizer, Anya Zilberstein. I think that everyone who has been on the receiving end of the planning for this appreciates the care, the thoughtfulness, the creativity, and I think the very and the Harriet cultural competence that is required to pull off an event like this. So in case you were wondering, no food with basil will be served at any time over the next 2 days. And so Anya has been working also together with two people that I really want to sort of single out who have made this event possible. And where are they? Which is Patty Alves and Kathleen Lopes, who are, I think, hiding outside. But just give a quick round of applause. With additional support from Megan Pepin, the three staff members here in MIT history. And now to sort of kick off the morning, I'd like to turn things over to Augustine Rayo, Professor of Philosophy and Keenan Sahin Dean of the MIT School of Humanities, Arts, and Social Sciences. Take it away.
Thank you. I'm so delighted to be here. And it's clear that you are too. I mean, everyone just looks delighted. Harriet has been a valued member of our community since 1979, when she arrived at MIT as a lecturer in the humanities department. And she's now the Arthur J. Connor Professor of History Emerita. She has been an invaluable contributor to history, to the school, and to MIT. She served as department head and associate dean. She has offered decades of wisdom, insight, and classroom instruction in multiple fields. She has been a leader in the establishment of the subdiscipline of environmental history. She has generated crucial works of animal history, from the animal estate to her forthcoming book, The Edges of Wild. Harriet made these contributions both through her graceful writing and her thoughtful mentoring of generations of students, many of whom are here today. Harriet, thank you.
I'm Peter Perdue, and I will be chairing the first panel for this session. I have not done a hybrid session before, so forgive me if some lapses happen, but Chris is next door here to help us all out. Harriet and I go back over 40 years at MIT. We arrived around the same time. It's not my job to talk about Harriet right now. I have been designated by Anya to give a toast at the reception. I still don't know what to say, but in any case, I will move on to introduce our speakers one by one for the morning session.